Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Marvel Strike Force. Now, you can see behind me, this is the thumbnail that I used for my video, and as you can well imagine now that, yes, the Annihilators are an arena team. So brace yourself. Also, between the three new characters, and I'm sure a lot of other people have been wondering what's going on with some of the reworks, including Ultimus, who I have leveled in advance to gear tier 18. In fact, I'm actually going to be taking him to gear tier 19 as one of my mythic replacements for Doctor Doom. I think a lot of the reasons that people wanted to have him are actually no longer the case anyways, with the fact that they fixed that final node. But anyways, we're going to find out in today's video all the kits for the new characters and the changes for the old ones. So if you're ready to go, everybody, then let's boil this down. Now, we're going to start here with the reworks, and this is going to be pretty quick for Silver Surfer because there's nothing. Well, there's stat changes, but there's nothing else. So it is quite, let's kind of zoom in one more. It is quite a bit of base stats. So I won't, say that it's not. It is a lot. And this is within this new context, right, of like Ares in this new patch and everyone getting like crazy base stats. So it is a lot. 167 health, 252 in focus. The damage, not sure if it's as much as it maybe needs to be, but the other stats definitely got a huge improvement. So I'd be curious kind of the before and after in terms of the MSF.gg stats table, because I do have that written down from the old version of Silver Surfer, and then post update whenever they flip that switch, and putting in the new one to see how it's changed. So there's going to be a video kind of like that. Now, Ultimus saw the most changes. And sorry, actually, before we go on Ultimus, there is no ability changes to Silver Surfer. So everything that you know of Silver Surfer now is still the case right now, or when it gets switched. And I guess the idea is that they felt the kit was good enough. I don't know if that's the case. So I think he's actually the weaker version, in my opinion. I think Ultimus will be better. Ultimus is also a mythic character, so there's more kind of places for him to slot in, I suppose. So let's talk about Ultimus. 251% health, 150%, 56% damage. This one's going to be huge. If you know about his ultimate, right, where he just does a crap ton, well, he does a crap ton of attacks, like over and over and over again, based on how many buffs that they have. This is going to punch really, really hard. And I'm really excited to see what this does live and why I've built Ultimus and why I'm going to be taking him to G19 for Dark Dimension 7 Mythic. 242 armor, 321 focus, 279 resist, and he is getting a speed buff by 41%. Now, his current speed is pretty low, 86. Now, I mean, I didn't do the math off the top of my head, but like 8.6 would be 10%. So it's like, I want to say this is going up to like in the 120s, right? So it's definitely a lot better than what it is right now. So I'm happy with that and seeing that in kind of improvement for him. He is getting some reworks. This is like his second rework, technically. He had one like where he got mind control on his basic. So his Void Blast, I believe that's his special attack. So it's that part's not changing, but it does have piercing already on the kit, which is pretty good. Copy and clear all positive. I want to read what it was anyways. So copy and clear all positive effects, excluding stealth and taunt. Doesn't want to put taunt on himself from each target, and then take that. He's going to regen to self and all adjacent allies, and then now it's going to apply an additional regen to self and all Annihilator allies. So 2 regen to self, and if those Annihilators if those adjacent allies happen to be Annihilators, they'll get 2 as well. Now his ultimate, basically you're going to flip any offense down that he has and apply offense, +1 offense up to self before he even does anything. So that's really good. So he's going to always have offense up basically before he starts punching. So he's going to be doing 370% damage, which is the same. And then for each positive effect, do bonus attack for 290 plus flip to random positive effect. So that's the same, right? But he's also applying defense down and ability to block to all enemy protectors, even if that's not the primary target that he's punching. Flip 3 negative effects into positive effects to self and all Annihilator and Kree allies. So this is going to happen after the damage is done, and it's going to do that for kind of like a weird damage / support kind of thing. But this is going to be really good with the new stats that he's going to see. His damage stat is going to be significantly higher, and this is going to hurt. Like, if you've ever gone up, I know he's not insane right now, but if you've ever seen him like punch into someone like Rogue or someone with a ton of buffs, he can hit like 6+ times, and it's going to be a lot of damage. In fact, that I currently have him as striker, but I'm actually contemplating thinking about Raider. I can't talk right now. Raider, because the more punches that he's having, if he's critting every single time he does that, like, or every other time, it could be quite brutal. So unfortunately, that was the main extent of his reworks, but telling you that these stats are nothing to joke about. Like, these are huge numbers that we've seen. We haven't seen these kind of numbers in characters before. These are very large. I'm telling you. And so when the website gets updated, I'm gonna do a breakdown of the old versus the new, kind of where they rank in terms of other characters. That's going to be really important. So let's move on to the first of the new characters, Thanos Endgame. Villain, cosmic skill, brawler, annihilator. Yes, he is a skill character, not a mystic character with a speed of 123. It's okay. I mean, there are some faster characters, of course, but he's not that slow. His basic attack attacks primary targets for 300% and apply heal block for 2 turns and 2 bleed for 1 turn, and then reduce speed bar by 5%. This is going to happen on the striker attack or the safety attack as well, just to a lesser extent. His special, Unavoidable Future, is 3 out of 3. Bury yourself and all allies for 15% of max health. Apply attack primary target for 350. Apply exposed trauma for 2 turns and stun for 2 turns. Okay, so the exposed mechanic, I kind of want to go down to the passive after we take a look at this, because it's going to be really important before we look at the ultimate. Copy all negative effects on this character and each ally to the primary target, and then chain for five additional enemies with offense down for 2 turns. He can be counterattacked though, so keep that in mind. So it's this part though that's really big, and obviously trauma outside of any game mode. I do want to just jump really quickly before we talk about his ultimate to his passive, because this is really important to the exposed mechanic. The first time this character drops below 50% health, clear all negative effects on self and all Annihilator allies. Okay, that's pretty good. Reduce the duration of all positive effects by 5 on all enemies. This is really important, and I want you guys to understand this includes safeguard. So what it does is it basically ticks down. It's like a decay, like a buff decay system. So if there's 2 or 3 turns left on the buff, it's going to be a -5. And once that hits 0, it's going to expire. So you're essentially expiring most of the buffs, because I don't know any of them that hit up to 5 really. Maybe deflect, something like that. But otherwise, the safeguard is going to disappear because it's decaying, it's expiring, and it's going to be gone. And this is their kind of workaround to safeguard, because you can't clear safeguard. So this is their way of kind of getting rid of it. Attack all enemies for 400% piercing plus 30% drain. So all of this is within that first time below 50% health. This attack gains 1000% extra focus, is unavoidable, and cannot be blocked. So allegedly this can be resisted. However, because it gains so much extra focus, this is probably unlikely. Also, once per turn, when an enemy with an exposed is attacked, generate 1 ability energy for 2 random allies or self that were not at full energy at the start of the current turn. This is kind of like the Vol exposed mechanic, except for it's all allies regardless of the game mode, because I think outside of raids that in Dark Dimension, maybe, it only gives it to Vol. So I think in this one, it's everyone on the team out in any game mode, which is really, really good. And also would count, of course, if you're using him with somebody else that applies exposed to. In Arena, enemies cannot gain immunity. Okay, this character and all Annihilator allies cannot gain trauma. Pretty big. So Thanos is going to be like the linchpin character of this team that you're going to want to have high. Now, his ultimate is on quite a very high cooldown of 7. Clear all negative effects on self and gain offense up. Attack all enemies for 270 piercing, plus reduce the duration of all positive effects on each enemy by 2, plus apply defense down for 2 turns and heal block for 2 turns. So again, that whole expiration mechanic, if there's any safeguard of 2 turns, he's going to use that and it's going to go away. And that's it. So he has 2 ways of doing it, both on the passive for the first time in that battle, and then the ultimate on demand when you want to use it. So there's 2 ways that he can get rid of safeguard, and of course other buffs as well. So that's pretty big, and why he's going to be really important for this team in Arena. Gladiator, he's a villain cosmic bio protector, so bio origin there. Protector Annihilator, speed of 121. His basic Meteoric Slam is primary and adjacent for 270, and if this character's health is 50% or more, apply offense down for 2 turns to each target. If he's below 50% health, he gains 25% drain on his attack, so he's going to heal up a little bit more. And then, of course, the safety is not... The safeties don't hit multiple targets, so I'm not sure why it says to each target, but it should be just the one that he attacks. Anyways, Tectonic Lift. This is energy cost of 5 out of 5 available on turn 1. Clear all barrier on all enemies. Flip all negative effects on self and all Annihilator allies. And then it's doing an AoE of 330% damage. If he has 50% or more health, clear all positive effects on all enemies. So that's quite a big a sweep unless they have Safeguard. And then he's applying Safeguard for 2 turns to self and all allies on the team. If this character is below 50%, though, he's getting immunity for 2 turns and 3 regen for 2 turns to self and the whole team. So some preservation mechanics there, depending on if he's over or above. This is unavoidable and cannot be blocked. His ultimate, Shi'ar Showdown, 3 out of 5. So this is a turn 2 ability. It's if this character is below 50% health, he gains barrier for 30% of this character's max health. Generate 3 ultimate ability energy for himself. So if he's below, it's going to get him back around to the skill a little bit quicker if he survives that long, because he is the tank of the team. Heal self for 50% of this character's max health. Heal all Annihilator allies for 40%. So that's a lot. It might not be that noticeable at low stars, but definitely at high stars, like that's a lot of healing percentage-wise. Attack primary target for 400% damage, and it gains a 30% extra crit chance. If this character is 50% or more, it reduces the speed bar of the primary target by 50%, and he gains 2 taunts for 2 turns and immunity for 2 turns. So there's this thing with Gladiator where it just depends on if he's above 50 or below 50, and the skills do a little bit different. He's not going to force himself to taunt if he's not above 50, because otherwise it'll get him killed. His passive, Shi'ar's Rage, on spawn, gain taunt, immunity, and safeguard. So he is a spawn taunter like Sasquatch was, but in this instance, he's gaining safeguard. Did Sasquatch gain safeguard as well? I know he didn't gain I'm not sure. I don't think he gained immunity on spawn, though. I think he gained defense up. Apply defense up for 2 turns to self and an all Annihilator ally. So he's getting taunt, immunity, safeguard, defense up. A lot of buffs on spawn, which you can't flip right away, at least until he's taken his turn and the safeguard drops. On any turn, if this character is below 50% health, heal self for 5% of this character's max health. Now, this is on any turn. So this is like the Silver Surfer mechanic, I'm pretty sure, which is on any character's turn. When this character drops below 30%, gain regen or 2 regen. And if this character has taunt, gain stealth. So that's, again, a self-preservation mechanic at like critical HP. If this character has 2 or more Annihilator allies, when his health is 50% or more, this character and all allies cannot gain exposed or vulnerable. This is a pretty big thing, right? So towards the start of the battle, as long as he has 50% or more hit points, they cannot gain exposed or vulnerable. So this is going to be pretty pivotal, I think, in even PvP game modes, maybe Crucible defense, something like that as well. In Arena, this character and all Annihilator allies cannot gain slow. So another kind of version of this, I think there was an Arena text for Thanos that they couldn't gain in something as well. While this character's health is 50% or more, enemies cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. So this is pretty interesting because it's across the board. And it's almost like Captain Britain in Crucible, I think, who had this kind of thing. So it's only if he's above 50%, and this is only in Arena. But it's basically going to be blocking a lot of the speed bar mechanics that happen for a lot of characters, like, say, Old Man Logan and Super Skrull and a few other characters as well. So quite a big way to knock out some of the competition. And finally, we have Gorr the Godslayer, who is a villain, cosmic bio, controller, and symbiote character, as well as an Annihilator with a speed of 129, which, by the way, is very fast. I believe that's faster than Ghost Rider Robbie. So a pretty good speed stat there. Symbiote Slash, attack primary for 270% piercing, and clear all charged. Apply defense down for 2 turns. So yes, Gorr has this kind of thing where he's going to be clearing a lot of charges. He's going to be clearing revive onces. That's his kind of shtick. Tendril Terror is special of 3 out of 3. Attack primary for 350, plus apply ability block for 2 turns. Adjacent targets for the same damage, and apply heal block for 2 turns. Clear all charged, and revive once on each target. So a lot of ways to do this. Clear, and especially the charge, right? So Black Knight, revive once is on Old Man Logan, etc., etc. Clear all stun and ability block from all Annihilator and symbiote allies. This attack cannot be dodged or blocked. Now, he does have both skills available, his special and ultimate, on turn 1. So this is going to be a team where, if you're playing them, you might, at least for Gorr, it might depend on what you want to do, whether you use the special or the ultimate first. His ultimate is available, Berserker Blitz. If any enemy has charged, fill this character's speed bar by 20%. So that's good if you're using it against, I guess, a Black Knight, for example. Attack all enemies for 320 AoE, 320% piercing, and clear all charged, defense up, evade, and revive once. And then you're applying Safeguard for 2 turns to self and all Annihilator allies. This is going to kind of synergize a little bit with Gladiator. I think you're pretty much like always going to have Safeguard up on the team from either of them. You know, they have different skills. I think both of them can apply a Safeguard, but to themselves in the team. It's not like to all allies. Clear all battlefield effects on the enemy side, and it's unavoidable. So that's unavoidable attacks are a pretty big thing. So, you know, you're not getting around the charge, the removal of the charge to revive once. His passive, the God Butcher, on spawn, gain charged, and bury yourself for 20% of his max health. On any death, gain 1 charge up to a max of 4. Also, characters killed by Gorr cannot be revived. So permadeath from any time that Gorr actually lands a kill. And then on any turn, if this character has 4 or more charged, attack the most injured non-summoned enemy, ignoring taunt and stealth with this character's special. So he's repeating. When he gets up to 4 kills or 4 charges, he's going to be repeating the special on the most injured target, which is pretty good. And just recap what Tendril Terror does. It applies ability block to the primary target for 2 turns, and then attacks adjacent targets as well, and applies heal block. It also clears all this other stuff as well. And so it's just doing that again. This is a character that I could see very valuable in places like Dark Dimension 7 for Cosmic. In fact, like a lot of these characters probably are, and I just don't know what their release order is going to be. But keep that in mind that we have new characters with huge stats that I think that they're going to kind of take over the new DD7 Cosmic meta. He gains 250% focus for each Annihilator ally as well. That's pretty big. So he's not going to really have a lot of focus problems, especially within the team in Arena. While this character has charged, this character cannot gain bleed, another FU to Old Man Logan. So that's a pretty big thing. And in Arena, while this character has charged, Annihilator allies cannot gain bleed. So again, another team FU to Old Man Logan because he does gain 1 charged on spawn. It also lowers the assist chance for all enemies by 100%. So a lot of this is targeting Old Man Logan, right? Because he's been the current meta. He kind of destroys Black Knight and all of that. And then boom, these characters come in, disrupting the meta again. Now, in terms of who you're going to be using, I think, are you going to be using the full 5-man team in Arena? If you're a veteran player, no. If you're a new player, probably. So even including Silver Server. Basically, what you're probably going to see is you're going to see the 3 new characters as the base. And then you're going to add in however many kind of meta characters that you're going to have. Now, I am still going to use Ultimus. I'm still wanting to use him in all sorts of places. He's not obviously a new character, but I don't think he's going to be bad. And once you see his stats, I think you're going to be quite impressed with that. That being said, is he still going to maintain relevancy in Arena? That's hard to say, right? Like if you have Mephisto, if you're going to get Mephisto, there's also APOC Super Scroll. You're going to have to see how this plays out, right, within the meta. And it's still like over a month and a half before we get all those characters anyways, because Hank Pym still isn't even out free to play. So take this with a grain of salt that the Annihilators are going to be a little while before you see them released anyways. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Hope that you found some of this interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and what you thought about this. Did you expect them to be Arena as such? It's going to shake up the meta, but obviously there's still going to be some flexibility in terms of what characters you use. And keep in mind that, you know, when we first get these, unless you're a Kraken, you're going to have them at low stars. So we'll have to kind of keep that in mind as well and see how that plays out. That's the end of this video, though, and thanks for coming, everybody. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.